Oh, hey guys. It is me. Sorry. I had to go get my laptop, so I couldn't stay on stage the whole time. Hi friends, how y'all doing? Good, I'm so glad. I'm actually very warm, so I am gonna take this jacket off. So give me just a second. All right. So, hi everybody. This is my first time talking to all of you. Isn't that so exciting? I'm so excited. I love it. Okay, well, some of the girls have heard from me in our Cootie series recently? Like literally months ago. But some of you guys have heard from me, but most of you have not. You've only heard from me in short snippets, maybe on a Sunday morning or something. But I want to talk to you guys today about identity. Who here feels like sometimes they don't really know their identity? I'm going to be honest with you. The answer is me. I definitely sometimes get a little confused or feel a little down on myself or forget who I am, right? I feel like we all do that. Even if you didn't raise your hand, I'm sure at least at some point you have felt like, is this who I am? Who am I really, right? So I want to talk about where we find our identity and why, right? So I have thought about identity in a lot of different ways, right? I thought about identity as what I do for a living, which you guys don't super have to deal with, but where you go to school maybe, right? What classes you're in, how good your grades are, right? Or in another area, right? What your hobbies are. Whether you're a sports person. I literally could not think of the word athlete just now. Completely forgot the word athlete. Are you a sports person, Parker? Okay. Or maybe you're a theater person, or maybe you're really into speech and debate. I was really into speech and debate when I was in high school, but we don't have to talk about that right now. So, right, there are a lot of different ways to think about your identity. For a really long time, I thought of my identity in the way that I looked, right? Sometimes we think, oh, well, I'm pretty, so that's my identity. Diego said, yeah, that's me, for sure. Or you might think, oh, I'm thin, that's my identity. Or, oh, I'm fat, that's my identity. Or, Parker. But for a long time, and still to this day, people will come up to me, specifically a few people, will come up to me and be like, wow, look at your body, it's different. Oh, you've gotten thinner. Or, oh, you've gained some weight. That, Yana's laughing from way back there. Or, oh, look at your hands, you've got weird hands. Or, oh man, your hair is great today. Or, ugh, what's wrong with your hair? People still come up to me and say things like that, right? And that's not cool, either way. But that's still something that I have to deal with in not putting my identity in what other people say, right? So I had a friend, I was talking to my friend about this the other day. I was like, man, why do people keep telling me about my body? Like I don't notice it. Like I don't see it for myself. People keep announcing it to me. And she was like, I don't know. I can't figure out why you have so many people in your life who feel like they can comment on your body. I was like, oh, dang. You're absolutely right. That is so weird that people feel like they can do that. And it's not just my body. It's also other things about me, right? People feel like they can talk about, oh, well, you're really loud. You're really obnoxious. You're really funny. Or you're really smart. Some of those are good and some of those are bad and some of those are neutral. But either way, people are always going to try to identify you. They're always going to try and put you in a box. Tell you who you are. Oh, it's raining. Did you guys hear that? I love it. That's really nice. They said that there was a thunderstorm warning, right? There's a thunderstorm warning, my dude. You are misinformed, my friend. Okay, so That's correct. All right. No, I'm just kidding. So, something that's important about identity, about where you find your identity, about where you're looking for your identity, is what you're hearing about yourself. And not just from the people around you, right? But from social media, from regular media, from teachers at school, from your parents, but also from your own brain. Sometimes I get caught up in thinking about myself in a way that is absolutely not my identity, right? Thanks, man. It's truly relaxing me to hear the rain right now. It's so good. It's so important that you surround yourself with people who are going to tell you what your real identity is. That your real identity is found in Christ, no matter what, right? So for me, the people in my life, my friends, my family, my social media even calls me out sometimes. And a lot of what they're saying is, Olivia, you're really loud, right? Because I'm pretty loud. I don't know if you guys have noticed, right? Or, oh, you're really weird. The other day I asked Diego if it would be cool if I bought some Heelys. That was a real thing that I was really excited about, and everyone thought it would be very weird. That was just an example of how I'm kind of weird sometimes, right? And that's okay. This is not a bad thing. But these are words that describe me, right? These are words that describe who I am. I have curly hair. I'm Olivia Sanchez. I work at Destiny Church. I'm loud. I'm funny. I'm kind, right? These are things that describe who I am, but they do not define who I am, right? The only way that I can find my identity, who I am, is not by my descriptors. It's not by the things that describe me. It's by the things or thing that defines me. The person who defines me. I used to listen to the things that describe me to find my identity. And instead, I started listening to the person who defines me. So let's go really quickly through a couple of verses in the Bible where Jesus describes us, okay? So first we got Genesis. We're starting at the beginning, okay? Genesis 1:26. It says, "Then God said, 'Let us make human beings in our image to be like us.'" We are made in God's image. God, the perfect, all-knowing, omniscient, amazing, wonderful, incredible God, we are made to look like him. Next, we got Genesis 1:31. "Then God looked over all he had made, and he saw that it was very good." This is right after making humans. He said it was very good. Everything else, all the trees, all the sky, all the animals, the water, the heavens, we look at all of that. We look at sunsets all the time, and we're like, wow. I thought I had to burp, but I didn't. We look at that, and we're like, wow, that's beautiful. Look at the majesty of Jesus. Look at the majesty of what God has created, right? We'll look at trees, especially right now in the autumn, and we'll be like, wow, they're beautiful. I catch myself doing that all the time, looking at God's creation and being like, wow, that's so beautiful. And he said it was good. He said it was good. Because it is, it's good. But he looked at us, human beings, the ones he had made in his own image, and he said it was very good. He said it was great. So compared to all of the beautiful things in nature, he looked at us, and he said very good. Next, we're going to go to John 15 through 17. It says, "I no longer call you slaves, because a master doesn't confide in his slaves. Now you are my friends. Since I have told you everything the Father told me, you didn't choose me, I chose you. I appointed you to go and produce lasting fruit, so that the Father will give you whatever you ask for using my name. This is my command, love each other. Jesus calls us his friends. Jesus calls us appointed. Jesus calls us chosen. This one is specifically out of the mouth of Jesus. Like not just the Bible, but the red letters, Jesus. He calls us these things, right? There's even more. In Ephesians 2:10, it says, for we are God's masterpiece. We're his masterpiece. We are the best thing he's ever created. In 2 Corinthians 5:17, it says, this means that anyone who belongs in Christ has become a new person. We are new. We are made new in Christ. And then I'm going to break out the real Bible. Who here brought the real Bible today? I bet no one because Kayla's not here. Danny, did you bring a real Bible today and not on your phone Bible? Whoa. Everybody give it up for Danny real quick. I love it. Whoa. My Bible started typing the letter T over and over again. Oh my goodness, like a cross? Whoa, it's a sign. It's Jesus. And then a 7 at the end. What is happening? God is here. I'm just kidding. Okay. So I want to read to you guys from Psalms 139. Okay. And I just, it's Psalms 139:14. And it says, if you ever are feeling down about yourself, go and read Psalms 139, just sort of all of it, because it is just line after line of you've created me, you're amazing, like, thank you for making me incredible, is basically what it is. But specifically, Psalms 139:14, it says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know that full well. God made us fearfully and wonderfully. Isn't that so amazing? Also, a fun thing about me is that next to it in my Bible, I wrote, I'm awesome, thank you, which is just upsetting to me in a multitude of ways. But I felt like you guys should know that. But it's true. We're awesome, right? We're made awesome. We're made wonderful and fearfully. Sorry, I had to delete a bunch of T's real quickly. Don't know what happened. Okay. So God calls us all these things, right? Verse after verse after, and there are more that I didn't even write down, of God calling us incredible. God calling us loved. God calling us chosen and here for a reason, right? So, my computer just stopped working. Ha 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 ha. Yikes. Okay, it's fine. I figured it out. All right, so I want to talk to you really quickly about other things that you could find your identity in, right? Because when you look at someone else, right, and you're trying to figure out who they are as a person, you look at what they do, right? To try and find someone else's identity, you look at their actions. But our actions change all the time, right? You're going to act differently in different places. You act differently here than you do at school. Even if you think you don't, you do. You act differently when you're at home versus when you're here, or when you're at school, or when you're with your friends, or when you're taking a walk by yourself in the woods. How often do you guys do that? I never do that. It's too scary. But I would definitely act different, for sure. Right? You act different around other people. You're going to act different around your mom than you are around your friends. Right? Absolutely. Absolutely you are. You're going to act differently whether you feel comfortable somewhere or whether you feel uncomfortable somewhere. Hey, we're not doing your mom jokes, just to be clear. Just making sure. Um, shh. Zachary, what did I just say? At least you didn't make one to me. Okay. You're going to act differently, right? Depending on what time it is. Who here acts differently in the morning than they do at night? That's all I'm saying, okay? You're going to act differently if you know more about a subject, right? Every year on Thanksgiving, my cousin teaches me how football works. Because I continue to not know. And I refuse to learn, but I do like hearing him tell me what's going on, even though I don't know what's going on. So it's our little ritual every year. And so I act differently at a football game or watching a football game than I do watching a basketball game. Because basketball, I know what's happening. I know what's going on with basketball. Sorry, I burped. So I get excited. I get into the game. I get pumped. But with football, I don't know what's going on. So I can't really get excited, right? So you're going to act differently in all of these different circumstances, right? So if all of these things, all of these little things that change constantly can change how you act, then how can that be a good definition of who you are? The definition of who you are isn't always changing. The definition of who you are always stays the same because you are always a child of God. God is unchanging. God is unending. And so if you find your identity in Christ, then it's not going to change. You're not going to have to find who you are. Because that's what we're all trying to do, right? We're all trying to find ourselves. Especially at the young age that we are. I can't really lump myself in with you, but I can do my best. We're all trying to find ourselves. But the best thing about this book that you all have access to is that this is where we can find our identity. We don't have to keep looking. It's fun to know more about yourself. It's fun to take those personality tests or learn how to deal with somebody else better because of the way that you act. Those are good and those are fun, but they're not our identity. In Hebrews 13, 7-8, it says, "Remember your leaders who taught you the word of God. Think of all the good that has come from their lives and follow the example of their faith. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever." Jesus has always been the same. He has always been perfect. He has always loved you. And you have always been able to find your identity in him. In multiple verses in the Bible, it talks about how he knew you before you even existed. He knew you before you were even in your mom's tummy. What? Why did I say tummy? Why didn't I say womb? I don't know. Tummy is a great word. Sometimes I say stummy. So my stummy hurts is what I say sometimes. Anyway. He knew you before that. Did you guys know that women are born with all of the eggs that they will ever have? Do you guys know that? Isn't that crazy? Which means that God knew you even before your mom was born. What is happening? God knew you and he loved you. And God's love isn't like human love, right? Because humans, we will never know each other. Thank you. We will never know each other as well as God knows us. We'll never even know ourselves as well as God knows us. Because all of the things that I have forgotten that I've done, all the experiences that I've forgotten, because there are a lot, because at one point I was 2 years old and I don't remember any of it. I don't remember any of being 2. But God remembers all of that. He's seen everything that I have ever done, everything that I've ever wanted to do, everything that I've ever thought, everything that I've ever said. He knows all of it. And he still loves me. I don't know about you guys, but I know about half of what I've done and thought and said. And I still have trouble loving me sometimes. Not too much trouble. I still love myself quite a bit. But, but I still have trouble. Imagine knowing everything you've ever done and still loving you. I probably wouldn't. Thankfully, I am not God. So I want to make sure that you guys leave here today knowing a few things about yourself. Because we talked a lot about identity, right? About where to find your identity, about how to find your identity in Christ. But it's important to me that you know the way that God thinks about you. Because that is where you find your identity. Because no matter how you're acting, no matter what you're saying, no matter where you're going or what you're doing or who you're talking to, these things will always be true about you because they were said from God. God says that you are appointed. God says that you are chosen. God calls you his masterpiece. And he calls you new. New in him. You don't have to be the way that you were. All of the things that I've done that I don't want to remember, that I wish I hadn't done, those aren't me anymore. Because in Christ, in my identity, I am made new. All right, I'm going to pray real quick. Then we're going to break up into small groups. Dear Lord, thank you so much for each one of these students. Thank you for giving them the most important identity they will ever have. Thank you that you show them exactly who they are. That all those descriptors, all those things that might describe them, that those aren't their identity, Lord. Thank you. Thank you that you can be our identity. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you. What was that? Okay, I'm going to break us into small groups. Give me just 1 second so I can find. Stop it, phone. Be cool. You guys talk amongst yourselves for a second. All right, just kidding. Haha, come back. Okay, so 6th grade. Go hang out with Pastor Chad over there. I don't have her written on here. 7th grade, you're going to hang out with Pastor Andrew and Abby. 8th grade, you're going to hang out with Jordan and Yana. 9th and 10th grade, you're going to hang out with Zaylee, I guess. Hey and Zay. And the rest of y'all come up here and hang out with me.